Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we will not make a classic car review because I have a new daily car slash project car. And before I tell you which car it is, I want to say many thanks to Auto Discount Ooster and their great price politics that gave us the opportunity to get our hands on this car. Because without them, that will be not possible. Because this car that we get is a performance car, and the price here in Switzerland for a performance car is getting even higher and higher and higher from month to month. So, but stop talking. Which car it is, I will show you right now. It's the M4 convertible. I must confess, this is not the first M4 I'm driving, because I was driven many M4s before, but it is the first convertible M4, and what is even more important, it's the first stock M4, because all the M4 that I was driven until today, there was always highly tuned with software, more horsepower, or even aftermarket turbochargers. So that's why I'm glad to get a car in such a stock condition. Yes, not truly stock because the suspension is done. We got a sport suspension, but that's already it. The rest is really stock. So what we want to do over the next few weeks is make some 4 parts videos of this car. We will take care about the exterior, give him a little bit love back again, that he looks nicer again. We will take care about the paint, we will take care about the scratches at the outside, and we will also take care about the carbon fiber parts, because some parts are scratched and damaged. So, but we will take a look what we can do. Maybe we will also repaint it, because I'm truly not the biggest fan of this black matte. But I must confess, the more I take a look at this car, the more I like this car in this color combination with this matte black. But I'm not sure if we will leave it in this color combination or we will change the paint. We will see what the time brings. And then the next week we will go to a special company who will take care about the interior, about the leather. We will talk to them what we can do, what makes sense to do to refresh the leather, to refresh some parts in the interior, and we will let them do this. And in the final part, we will take care about the performance. So we will go to an M doctor who will talk with us about what we need to take care about this engine, about this gearbox, what makes sense, how much horsepower in stage 1 is reliable, and also what we can do with the software of the dual clutch gearbox, because to be honest, I'm not so really happy how this dual clutch performs daily. But yeah, I already read in the internet there are some solutions that you can choose for this gearbox in case of a software update. Yeah, but I don't want to talk about this too much, because we will go then there to this guy, this M doctor. He have many experience with those cars, and then he will teach us what makes sense, and then we will do this with him together. And yeah, also I read about the weakness of the S55 engine. So there are 2 weaknesses, and we will also talk with him about those weaknesses and then fix them to make the engine more stronger for the extra horsepower. But enough talking, now we want to find out how this car drives and performs stock, how it is right now. Alright, but before we start, we will open the roof because, I mean, at the end it's an M convertible and it's good weather and give us a little bit more feeling with open rooftop as long we're driving. So I moved the car the whole day in the efficiency, means comfort mode, and it's a great daily mode. Because I mean, if you are in this mode, you really doesn't realize that this is an M performance car. It feels like a normal 3 or 4 series car with a smaller engine. And what is also nice, you can choose, even if you're at the efficiency mode or at the comfort mode, you can choose the steering wheel setting. So you can go to comfort. For example, me right now, I'm choosing in sport, even if I'm in the comfort mode from the rest of the setting, because I like more the sharper feeling. Reminds me that I'm still driving an M performance car, even the sound, the noise is quiet and the engine is not aggressive. What I really don't like, if I could choose, I would choose the manual gearbox. Even if the manual gearbox, the car is slower on the paper and the fuel consumption is more worse than with the more efficient double clutch gearbox like we have it right now. What I don't like at the double clutch gearbox is when you change to the reverse gear, it always took 2-3 seconds until the car go to the reverse gear. Same thing with the forward gear. When you go from the reverse to the forward gear, it always took 1-2 seconds until the car switched the gearbox. And it's a little bit wiggly. It's always wiggling a little bit. But I was read about it that when you put, for example, the software from the M4 GTS, it's getting much better. But this, we will take a look at the technical part when we go to get a little bit more performance out of the car. Then we will also talk to the M doctor and listen to him what he means if there is a solution to get this trouble away from the gearbox, to get a little bit more smoother. But right now we are here on the twisty road, and so we will change to the M1 or M2 setting, because you have at the steering wheel M1 and M2 buttons that you can configure to your own taste. So for example, I choose the M1 button as the hardcore setting here by me in my car. That means everything is at the sharpest possible setting. That means for me, this is my track setting. If I want to go to the racetrack, I will push M1, but I don't think so that I will choose this car at racetrack, but you never know. If I will go there, I got M1. M2 button, I set it for me for the, in my eyes, optimum sport driving setting on the legal roads, on the passes, on curvy roads like we got it here. And that means the engine and the steering wheel is on the sharpest mapping, on the sharpest setting, and the gearbox and the traction control is in a middle range sharpest setting. So it's not the traction control is not full deactivated. You have a little bit support from the traction control, but much less than in the normal mode. And the gearbox doesn't changes too fast, doesn't change too hardcore the gears, so you always have a punch. It's somewhere between that sharpest and the comfortable way. And then we activate it like we do it now, and also the noise, the exhaust is getting much more noisier and everything is getting sharper. And what is also nice, if you have the head-up display, also the graphic from the head-up display changed. Now it looks like some PlayStation game. You have some kind of RPM graphic, including the flashing lights to change the gears if you go in the manual modes like I am right now. And then you can start to drive sporty. Woo! And come on, to be honest, those 430 horsepower, it's more than enough. This car feels so sporty in the right setting. Even at this one, the convertible is 250 kilos heavier than the coupe. But you don't feel it really. So if you drive it like we drive now on a twisty road, you really don't feel that 250 kilos more. On the racetrack for sure, if you drive really at the limit. But here, if you drive sporty, I really doesn't feel that 250 kilos more at the car. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how good, how much enough this power is. I mean, this is at the end an M performance car, and you can never have enough power by an M performance car.
This man is insane. Take him away.
So that's the reason why we want to talk about a little bit more horsepower, and then we will go to this M doctor and talk to him what he recommends to us, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. But it's really enjoyable. Yeah! Great. No, really, 430 horsepower is more than enough in a car like this. And also the exhaust has a nice sound. I was thinking about it to change it, to put some M performance exhaust system. If I find one for a good price, I will do it. But if not, doesn't matter. I'm not sad about it, because really, when you drive in an efficiency mode, it's quiet, you can enjoy it, you can drive to the village, you can drive around town, no problem. And when you go right now, like here, we go to the setting, to the sport setting, it's getting much more noisier, and more crispier sound. Sounds somehow like a V10 sometimes, don't get me wrong, but I love it. So for my taste, it's more than enough. When we're talking about the sound, come on, man, look at this. A great sports car. I love it. It's a great daily car, and in the right setting, you have such a monster, such a great performance car that you can enjoy. And believe me, if you drive it to the normal roads, the convertible makes minimum double more fun than the coupe, okay? Because the coupe is light, yes, but all that fun that you have when you open up the roof, the noise, the sound that you have when you open up the roof, this is not the same thing like when you drive it in a convertible. You have so much more experience about the sound, about everything, because you have this nice feedback from the things around you, the smell, everything. You feel everything, you hear everything, you smell everything, and it gives you all this feeling to be somehow more near to the roads, and you are not isolated like when you're sitting in a coupe or a limousine. But when you go to the racetrack, yes, the convertible is the wrong decision. Then you really need to go for the coupe car, and it's the more agile car when you drive it sharp to the edges. When you drive it at the limit, what is not possible on the legal road, to be honest, you cannot drive at the limit. Doesn't make sense. But when you go to the racetrack, the convertible is the wrong car. Then you need to get the coupe, and you have also this little bit different corner characteristic than the convertible. But at all the other stuff, at all the other things, the convertible makes much more fun than the coupe. I mean, this car really feels like another car when you are in the M setting, in the M mode. Everything is so much sharper. But you also feel here the weakness of the gearbox, because the gear changes, they are not immediately there. They have a tiny millisecond between you press the pedal and the gear change. And I hope that is getting better when we put the right software from the M4 GTS on it. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. So don't get me wrong, it's not bad, it's good. But it could be much better. When you drive other cars with also double clutch gearbox systems, you know it could be much more better, much more faster, and here it's not the case. It's such a great M performance car. To be honest, I was a little bit skeptical because I am an old school M driver. That means I know all the M before the M is getting to the next level with the turbocharging cars. And I was always a little bit skeptical about those turbocharged engine, because I was always thinking this typical M characteristic is no more available. But as soon this car starts to make pressure, you have an old school M characteristic feeling. It feels so right, like the E46, like the E92. It's not the same thing, but you feel this car comes from the same family. This car has the same DNA, even that he's a turbocharged engine. It feels so M. It feels so M, this car, but only in the right mode. If you go to the efficiency mode, as I said, it drives like every other normal stock 4 Series or 3 Series car, and you really doesn't feel that it is an M car under all that behavior. I was always a big fan of the sound from the straight line BMW 6-cylinders, and I was a little bit skeptic when this one is coming out, but this one has a completely different sound feeling, sound color. It sounds somehow like a V10 sometimes, and sometimes it reminds you at the Ferrari 488, some similar sound like those cars, but nothing to do with the E46 straight line or the E36 straight line. I mean, listen to it. A whole other story, a different story, but it's a nice sound. It's a nice sounding car that really reminds you sometimes that Ferraris, when you hear them drive by, and that makes even more fun, you know? I mean, honestly, there is no better performance convertible out there for 40K than this thing. Hey, you have no idea